If a plier stapler can't drive cleanly into foil-faced insulation at a weird angle inside a return chase, it's not an HVAC stapler, it's a paperweight. Today, the real-world winners, and a few pretenders, go head-to-head. This countdown ranks 7 plier and hand staplers from good to best for HVAC tasks: insulation, foil tapes and facings, wrap, filters, felt, and shop use, with candid, hands-on impressions: where they bite, where they balk, and which one to trust when you're reaching blind above a furnace plenum. Stay to the end for the model that combines T50 heavy-duty staples and brad capability with reduced effort tech that actually matters when your forearm is smoked by midday. Number 7. Bosch 6030380 HT8. The Bosch HT8 is a light, compact hand tacker that looks ideal on paper for quick fastening of fabrics, foils, cardboard, insulation, and light upholstery, and it runs Type 53 fine wire staples in short lengths. In the hand, the advantage is control and low mass. Because it's around 0.4 kilograms and takes 4 to 8 millimeter fine wire staples, it's easy to place precisely on delicate facings or thin vapor barriers without crumpling the material. On bench tests with foil-faced insulation and poly, the trigger and padded grip feel decent, and the polished steel body is sturdier than the price suggests. For lightweight shop tasks, tagging, thin felt, and quick tacks, the Bosch feels snappy and consistent. But in real HVAC scenarios, the limitations show up quickly. The Type 53 fine wire staple lacks the crown width and leg length HVAC pros rely on for gripping thicker insulation facings or house wrap into OSB and studs. 4 8mm legs just don't hold as securely in rougher substrates, especially around returns and ducts where vibration can loosen shallow fasteners. Pushing into denser pine or older framing requires more follow-through pressure to prevent proud legs, and the lack of a broader, heavy-duty staple spec narrows its usefulness compared with T50 class guns. On vertical studs with a bit of arm fatigue, the power ceiling becomes obvious. Even with good placement, it can leave the occasional light seat in tougher grain. If the task is thin foil or plastic wrap on soft backing, it's serviceable. 6. Surebonder TRIGGERFIRE 5625. The TRIGGERFIRE's party trick is dual mode operation. Normal mode, like a classic heavy-duty gun, or trigger mode, where you preset with the handle, position accurately, and pull the trigger for a one-handed, precise shot. On ladder work around ducts, trigger mode is genuinely helpful. Preload, set your staple line on a duct jacket, then click a staple exactly where you want it, without the gun skating on foil facing. It accepts heavy-duty No. 4 Aero T50 staples from 1/4 in to 9/16 in, with adjustable power for hard or soft materials, so it covers most insulation, house wrap, and screening staples. HVAC techs use daily. The drop-in loading and staple viewer make jams quick to diagnose and fix in a crawl space where visibility is awful. The steel body and rubberized grip feel durable enough for truck life, and the handle lock keeps it compact in a tote. Where it stumbles is consistency under speed. In normal mode, the shot feel is stiffer than top-tier guns, and on harder studs, the adjustable power needs frequent fine-tuning to avoid either shallow sets or crushed facings. In trigger mode, there's a rhythm. Preload, place, click, great for precision, slower for production runs on long insulation seams. When hustling across a line of staples, it can be a tad slower than a pure mechanical coil spring shooter. The balance is a bit front-heavy. After an hour of overhead stapling, the wrist notices it more than lighter composite designs. 5. Better Office Products HVAC. You'll see this style in warehouses. A metal plier stapler tuned for carton sealing and bag work. The kind of shop tasks that bleed into HVAC, filter media attachment, labeling, and quick plier-style reaches into tight corners. While this model isn't a heavy-duty T50 class construction stapler, its plier geometry does something hand tackers can't. It closes with throat reach, giving leverage for pinching layers. Think attaching a tag to insulated flex duct or stapling a thin strap without backing. In practice, on thin plastic, filter frames, and light paperboard, the squeeze action is controlled and reduces the tendency to crumple surfaces, and the plier orientation helps when you're working in a register cutout or behind a coil cabinet. The trade-off. With standard office-type staples and a lighter frame, it's not suitable for fastening insulation to framing or for house wrap. This is a support player in an HVAC kit, not the primary gun. Treat it as a dedicated plier stapler for shop and light field tasks. In that lane, it earns its keep. 4. Aero T50. The T50 is the construction class baseline. All steel housing, coil spring fire, jam-resistant mechanism, hardened steel parts, visual refill window, and it drives 6 sizes of T50 staples from 1/4 inch to 9/16 inch. In the field, that translates to dependable penetration into studs and sheathing, consistent crown seating on insulation facings, and enough power headroom for repetitive runs without fiddling with settings. The grip's double leverage feel and the classic shot cycle remain predictable, which is why the T50 has been the go-to for decades for insulation, screening, light trim, and general fastening across trades. On long seams of foil-faced fiberglass, the coil spring gives crisp drive that buries legs flush without tearing facings when you maintain proper pressure, and the jam-proof mechanism minimizes downtime in dusty mechanical rooms. It's not magic. Effort is still effort. Compared to reduced-effort composite models, a few hundred shots in a hot attic will leave hands more fatigued, and the lack of power adjust means material selection is on the user. Change staple length and technique instead of flipping a lever. But for reliability, part availability, and a wide fastener ecosystem, T50 remains the benchmark most other manual guns get measured against in HVAC insulation work. 3. Aero P22. Here's the pure plier stapler in Aero's line, purpose-built for tagging and paper bag stapling, with an all-steel chrome-finished body, cam-actuated double leverage mechanism, and a 2.5 inch throat reach. It drives P22 staples in 1/4 inch and 5/16 inch sizes and is rated to staple up to 25 sheets, which in practice maps well to attaching labels, sealing light cartons, and stapling thin materials where a plier motion is safer than a nose-down tacker. The hand guide loop and the cam leverage give a smooth, surprisingly strong squeeze, and the extended throat lets the anvil reach further into filter frames or behind trim where a top-down stapler won't physically fit. For HVAC, it's excellent for shop labeling, field tagging of zones and damper positions, affixing documentation sleeves, and any thin material pinch where control matters more than raw penetration. The obvious limitation: this isn't a T50 class construction stapler. It won't fasten insulation to studs or house wrap to OSB. Treat it as the precision plier complement to a heavy-duty tacker. When a plier action prevents surface marring or you need reach and control, the P22 is a reliable, durable tool that pairs perfectly with a T50 class gun in the same bag. Number 2. Deli E0334SV. The Deli E0334 is a long-reach all-metal stapler rated for 25 sheet capacity, designed for extended throat stapling with an adjustable paper guide and built-in ruler. In the HVAC world, this translates into neat assembly of documentation packets, stapling service tags deep into folders, or binding instruction sets where a standard desk stapler can't reach, tasks that happen more than people admit on install days. The long arm gives precise placement up to roughly 12 inch depth, and with standard 24/6 or 26/6 staples, it produces clean, consistent clinches on paper and thin card without tearing. The all-metal build feels durable enough for shop or truck use, and the low staple indicator plus guide help maintain tidy, repeatable placement, useful when assembling multiple job packets quickly. It's not a field fastener for materials. It's a workflow tool for organization and documentation that supports HVAC crews by keeping labeling and manuals tight and professional. As a companion to a heavy-duty gun, it eliminates hacks like tape-bound manuals and crooked, shallow staples on thick instruction stacks, small quality-of-life improvements that clients notice when they open air handler panels months later. 1. Spec Ops SPEC-M50. For primary HVAC fastening, the SPEC-M50 is the standout, a 2-in-1 heavy-duty staple gun, an 18-gauge brad nailer with patented torsion spring control for up to 50% easier squeezing, and a military-grade composite housing that cuts weight by up to 25%. In repeated overhead stapling on insulation and wrap, That reduced effort mechanism is not marketing fluff. The squeeze is noticeably lighter than classic coil spring guns, which extends productive time before forearm fatigue sets in. Compatibility with heavy-duty T50 style staples from 1/4 in 8 to 9/16 in 8 covers every common insulation wrap use case. And the added 18 Ga brad capability, halved in 8s, is a quiet superpower for tacking quarter-round thin trim or securing markers where a staple crown would be visible. The flip-out wire guide is purpose-built for HVAC and low voltage. It straddles cable sheathing to staple wrap or labels close to runs without risk of nicking, letting the crown sit precisely where it should. A low fastener indicator, bottom load magazine for quick reloads and jam clearing, and a reversible metal belt hook round out the daily use quality of life features. On studs and OSB, shots are consistent and flush with less body English, and the composite housing balance makes awkward reaches, like stapling behind a furnace or along a return, feel less punishing over time. Unlike some reduced effort designs that feel vague, the SPEC-M50 maintains a crisp break and firm anvil feedback, so placement stays accurate even when rushing. The lifetime limited warranty and brand donation program don't drive a buying decision on their own, but they reinforce the buy once, carry often appeal. Closing thought. HVAC stapling is a mix of power, control, and access. A plier for pinch and reach tasks, a heavy-duty T50 class driver for insulation and wrap, and, ideally, reduced effort mechanics for long runs above the ceiling line. If the kit can only carry one primary field tool, pick the composite, reduced effort 2-in-1 that fires T50 staples and brads and adds a wire guide for safer work around low voltage. That combination shortens jobs, protects facings, and saves hands across a long day.